good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Can you let me know if you can hear me? Um, oh my goodness, I'm really sorry I'm late. It's been one of those, listen, I told you we got fire and air. We got fire and air amped up right now. We got Venus and Aries, we got Mars and Leo. There's a lot happening. There's a lot happening. I feel like the past week for me, it's been like hour to hour to hour to hour. We're gonna talk about some of the Earth's frequencies right now that you're feeling. I'm going to explain why you're feeling the way that some of y'all are feeling. Are you getting sleep? Are you getting sleep still? Or, some of the great things is that with what's happening is it does help, your intuition, helps expand your consciousness, all of that I've explained before. But yeah, I'm going to talk about a couple things today, including some new predictions. And I'm going to go over some that I already predicted because I know that I don't leave timestamps. And I know I've been doing predictions and I'm going to tell you since last year. I think it was June or July. I'm going to tell you the reason why, but I'm going to tell you some really good news as well. But I wanted to say I apologize for being late. I'm so sorry. It's just been one of those days. Sunday morning. I love that Ruby's in this screen, just resting on her rug. I got her this really fun rug. I don't know. You saw the post. This leaf, a green leaf rug. Good morning, everyone. Oh my God, everyone. Michelle, Jean, good morning. It's always good to see you. Jean, you always get my energy go. Like, I always feel it, Jean. Really great to see you. Y'all, Jean's been with me for a really long time. I just really appreciate her. I hope that, and you're amazing. Kristen, first timer, great to see you. Great to see a lot of y'all. Irma, good to see you. Good morning. DJ BTV, happy Star Wars Day. Good to see you. A lot of these names that I'm just saying, y'all been with me for so long, and I just want you to know I am so grateful, and I do have so much gratitude. It really means so much to me. And I think that's one thing about being an empath, because I can pick up energies. And if you have gotten a private reading with me, you know that I've given you, and I should state that now. I'm still not doing private readings, personal readings. I barely have time to, drink water. Which of course I don't. I mean, I do. But yeah, it's just been bonkers. Y'all, there's a lot of new people to my channel. I don't know if y'all know, but I do have a full-time job. So what I do here is on top of that. So and of course, I'm still on the writing my young adult novel that's so close to being done. Vicky, great to see y'all. Everyone from all over the world. May the 4th, happy 4th. May the 4th be with you. May the Pluto retrograde today be with you. May the moon in Leo. We have a first quarter moon today. Y'all. Oh my goodness. It is so great. And I talked about that in your second spread. So just feel that creative energy. Y'all. You're going to feel moved. You should be. We just had Venus conjunct Neptune in Aries for the first time. And nobody's ever felt that before, because it happened in Aries at that 1 degree point in Aries, on top of the fact that Mars is in Leo right now. Mars just left shadow, and Mars just conjuncted the moon. We got the moon in Leo, a first quarter moon. This is a big weekend. And as you know, we got Mercury sextile Jupiter, and I'm going to talk about that. Remember, I said that brings good news. Or it's you that has this brilliant idea. You grow with it. Jupiter is the water for the seeds that you plant. Jupiter expands, and it just happens to be in Gemini, which is all about communication. It's all about learning new things, being curious. A lot of y'all be curious to try new things and start businesses and sell things and, travel. But yeah, so it could just be this effortless, wonderful. And when I say good news, yeah, Mercury sextile Jupiter, everyone's going to feel a different way. It may be you giving good news, like I'm about to do for y'all. Okay. Um, or it just, it really, you got to look at the sextiles, you can look at the trines. So anyway, because of everything that's happening, it's such a great week. We had such a great week. And Pluto retrograde, I talked about in your weekly forecast. Okay, that's a whole thing there. That's a whole thing there with Pluto going retrograde. And just remember, Pluto is freshly new in Aquarius. And so this Pluto retrograde, it is one where it's not going back to Capricorn. It's not going back to Capricorn. And that's another thing. It's, I talk about, so one thing that I've been doing recently, because I look at y'all's comments and there's such a big difference. And this is what I love doing. This is one of the reasons why I love doing what I do, because I am the only tarot reader that knows astrology at this point, right? And so what I love doing is there's a lot of y'all who watch tarot readings, and I'm introducing you to astrology. And so that's something that I'm getting so many questions about. And I love that. I love that you're learning astrology. I have a lot of people, even emailing me, people that are telling me they're in their 50s or, 60s. They've never even heard of rising sign. And now they're watching the rising sign and they're like, that changed my life. I know, it changed everything. So you got to watch your rising too. But that's the same thing. As an astrologer, I do tarot, so I'm introducing tarot to you, and you see how it just amplifies the messaging for the astrology. And a lot of the things are so accurate to what's happening. Even like the fact that I've talked about a 0 degree point, that we were going that once in a lifetime, all those planets hovering the 0 degree point since March. You've been on this big wave since mid-March. I would even say like beginning of March. That's when you started, even like February-ish, but it was just, there was anyway, mid-March. It was all over that 0 degree point, 0 degrees, the creator degree. You're entering this brand new, think about the Fool card 0. So that's why I love doing this. But that's why I have to be very comprehensive. Like, I try to tell things in a very comprehensive way. I know a lot of y'all come to study and to learn. And so I love that, because I want to spread this. I want to spread this and have everybody, truly understand your birth charts and why things are happening and why things just align. And it's so special. And so with Pluto going retrograde today, I don't think that I said this in your current forecast, because I did say Pluto was going retrograde. But if you do have any planets in fixed signs, which would be Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius, then yeah, you are going to feel this the most. If you have planets between 0 to 3 degrees, I would even give it a little bit bigger. I would even say 0 to 4, and we'd be pushing it by going to 5, but it's still, but 0 to about 0 degrees, 0 to 3 degrees, if you have any planets there. But again, remember, we look at all the angular aspects. And so you're going through a Pluto transit. Okay. Pluto moves so slow. It's a 19-year cycle. So it's only moving like a degree this year. It's going to be at that 3 degree point. I think it's going back to 2 degrees a little bit during the retrograde. But either way, that's more, remember, transformation comes from within. And so you're going to feel that strongly. But it doesn't mean that other signs won't. I'm just saying, if that's in your birth chart, you're going to feel that strongly. Yeah. But again, does at 1000% does not mean you're not going to feel it. 1000% does not mean you're not going to feel it at all. Okay. No matter what sign you are. For instance, me being a Gemini rising, I'm a 0 degree Gemini rising. I always make the joke in my Gemini readings. If you're Gemini or Gemini rising or Gemini moon, I make the joke like, I'm a 0 degree Gemini rising. I'm more Gemini than you. Because 0 degrees really embodies the if you have anything 0 degrees, that sign. That's anyway. So of course, Pluto being at 3 degrees in Aquarius will be trining my my 0 degree Gemini rising. So again, every sign is going to feel it. But the fixed signs, of course, we'll see, you got some aspects going, but everyone's got aspects to some degree. And, because your entire chart tells a story. Okay. So keep that in mind. Pluto going retrograde today. Big story. Okay. Big story. Because of what's happening this month. And I'm just finishing your forecast for the week of the full moon in Scorpio. That's on May 12th. And that one's big. And you're going to start feeling it now. Okay. That one's a big one. Yes, we've gone back to an hour. We've gone back to an hour. There's a lot happening with that full moon. I'm not going to give anything away. I'm just going to let you know that there is some listen, Pluto is Scorpio's ruler, right? Modern ruler. So yeah, you're gonna feel it. Yeah. You're gonna feel that full moon. It's a big one because of all the other things that are happening around the same time. And I go into a lot of things, and I want to let y'all know, I go into some details that no one else will bring. Like, for instance, like this full moon in Scorpio, there's about 1 million things happening that's coming up. So another reader may talk about the full moon in Scorpio and just mention like 1 or 2 things, but I go deep, like I bring in the stuff that they just won't, because they do like maybe 3 or 4 minutes a sign. They do it I go deep, and you're going to see why this full moon in Scorpio it's such a big one, but it's a good one because it's part of your transformation, part of healing. Remember, Pluto is transformation. Okay. Pluto and then Scorpio, that's transformation. And it goes along with everything that's happening now too. Everything that's happening now. Okay. Because yes, you know how so the sun, for instance, and yeah, we'll talk about the solar flares. I've been talking about the solar flares. We are at peak maximum this year. Did you see? And look at my I do Instagram stories, and again, I'm trying to be a lot more involved on social media. It's just like a time thing, but I will post a lot of things in my stories, including the graph for the Schumann's resonance. It was off the charts yesterday. Okay, but just the way the moon has an impact on us, right? Because the moon, it has an impact on our tides, on the oceans. We all know that. It's all locked in because of the distance, everything. We know that. It's science, it's astronomy, it's even ancient wisdom and philosophies, all of that. We're made of 60% water. Of course, the moon is going to have an impact on us. Same thing with the sun. When you've got solar activity, that has a profound impact on us and our cells. Okay? On our cells. So when I say this is a year, and I've been telling you so for 2-3 years now, 2025 is a year you're going to see a big change. Of course, I say it like this is the year of the Great Awakening. We're changing. People are changing. Earth is changing. We're all changing. And again, there's a lot more to it. And if you felt it, anybody feel it last night? When you feel really strong spikes, and remember the solar flare, when I talk about the Schumann resonance, that's Earth. I'm just looking at Earth's frequency. Sometimes it's not the solar flares, so there's other things that happen like around, like with the Earth that can cause the spike. So it's just there's a lot of different factors. But yeah. It could have been off the charts. And it does have a profound impact on people who are very spiritual, I don't know what's the word, like light workers or things like that. Okay. So you'll feel it. You'll feel it like very like your like vivid dreams, expanding your consciousness. You're gonna feel like even exhaustion. So that's why I say drink water, but drink water with electrolytes. Stay hydrated, right? Electrolytes are, yeah. So electromagnet activity, electrolytes, drink water with electrolytes. So that's why so again, the sun has an impact on us as much as the moon. Okay. And yeah, you're really gonna feel it. Now, one other thing that I do want to just briefly mention, and again, I posted something on my Instagram story yesterday. I think it's still up there, but with Venus conjuncting Neptune in Aries, again, the first time that we've experienced that just happened recently, but you're still feeling it because it was a strong conjunction. You're feeling it today. Remember, music, okay? Play music that inspires you, okay? And look at my Instagram. It's just the tarot ship on Instagram. And I do on Facebook and Blue Sky and all the X and everything else, Threads, because it's just the same thing that I post. But sometimes I don't put the Instagram stories on. That it just depends on my time. But I posted a lot of headlines from articles because, like I said, it's science. Okay. That music really does have a big, profound impact on you. Now, I got a lot of questions about, like, well, what frequency should I listen? Like, what is the frequency? What, in terms of the music? I always say, like, if you're new to this, like, anything that inspires you, music is emotion. It you feel emotions, right? But if you really want to break it down, 432 hertz, it's great. Okay. It's wonderful. I equate it to like a clear crystal quartz. All right. 432 hertz music. It's really great for, if you listen to that every day, even for like 5 minutes a day, it does have a significant impact on your mood and your emotions. And it just, really heightens your intuition. It's great. Okay. And we're going way back in time. Okay. Even Pythagoras was really big on, remember, music is frequency and literally, right? And vibrations. So, yeah, it definitely stimulates your brainwave activity. Again, this is all science, music. It's all science. Yeah, that's why I say kick up your gamma waves. And so from there, you can go higher and higher and higher, depending on, how you feel. Everyone's going to be different. You can do 741 hertz. It just depends. It just depends. You can do even lower, but it's whatever you resonate with. I just say if this is new to you, it's 432 hertz, not 440, not 440, 432. There's a big difference, and maybe we'll get into it in another thing. Okay. So so let's I'm gonna give you some predictions, and I'm gonna give you also like a thing. Okay. Oh, and then 432 hertz also, by the way, is helps reduce like stress and anxiety, and those low energy frequencies, they're just okay. And just feel the music, because it does have this really wonderful impact on you physically, your nervous system, your even like muscle tension, muscles, like, all right. When you take a yoga class or you even go to a spa, you're going to get a facial, whatever it is, you're in the meditation room. That's what they're playing. They're playing 432 hertz, maybe a little bit higher. All right. So there you go. Okay. Now, and then remember, with that full moon in Scorpio coming up, that's all about transformation. That's all about doing shadow work, especially with Pluto now retrograde. Remember, we're going within. And so I'm just going to give you a little. Some signs are gonna are maybe gonna have to do some shadow work, and as we know, sometimes it's not easy doing shadow work because we're confronting parts of ourselves that we don't want to. That's why it's in the shadow, right? And Pluto, as we know, is a planet that is so far out there. ruler of the underworld for a reason. It gets no sunlight. It's in the dark. And so we need to bring those out and confront it, and then whoosh, and then you're good to go. Remember what's happened the last 2 weeks of May. This is an amazing month, but it is going to be next week, the week of the full moon and the Uranus Kazemi that happens once a year, where you are going to feel that it's like this is it, the last gasp of I'm on the brink of this new era, a new change in my life, and this is what I have to let go. All right. And again, it may not be easy for some of y'all, but that's why I'm just letting you know now. There may be something you may get in the mode of it, because remember, it's not just that. I just tell you, it's like Pluto's retrograde. You got Saturn with the North Node. You just came out of this, the North Node activations. We got Jupiter sextiling Chiron, the wounded healer. You got Eris on top of Chiron. First, like a conjunction that, it's been 54 years. It's a lot of healing that you're going to feel that you're going to be doing that week. So don't be afraid to go deep and do that shadow work. This is one of the best months. And if there's one thing that may be hard or challenging, it would be that shadow work, because it's a Scorpio full moon. You may hear some things that, remember, I always say, like, tap into your inner Mulder, your inner Scully. What do you got to see? Do that detective work. But also you may hear some things that are surprising, especially with Uranus at play. Okay. Or things may be revealed because it's a full moon in Scorpio. But yeah, this is definitely a time where, and it's just always remember you're on a karmic journey. And that's why even play music this week that just inspires you. It's going to be helpful. It's going to be soothing. It's going to be really, really, really nice. The other thing is, what else is, there's just so much happening. There's so much happening that I don't even know where to begin. May is another week or another month where there's a lot happening, especially with asteroids, planetoids. Again, I think I told you that a lot of people you're going to start hearing a lot more people bring that into the fold, into the consciousness. I might have to do a separate video just on Sedna. I haven't even brought Sedna into your forecast. I haven't had time. I'm always just, prioritizing what you got to know most, right? I always do a meditation for every sign anyway. And it's just like, and of course, for the week, I gotta prioritize what I gotta tell you, because there's always a lot. But Sedna, we haven't even talked about. And Sedna is a really big part of what's happening for 2025. So maybe I'll do a separate video like that. But yeah, just know that everything is changing. You are moving into this amazing new period in your life. And I want to make it very clear, just another distinction. World astrology, mundane astrology, very different from personal horoscopes. So what I do is, for you, it can mean something different for the world, but that's different. That's looking at different charts, like countries and things like that. It's not you. So yours is just, it's personal. It's personal horoscopes. Again, forecasts different. Your tarot readings different from what's happening in the world. All right. And again, we're on the brink of big change. I mean, even Chiron moving into Taurus, that's happening in 2026. Chiron's finally leaving Aries. That's big. You saw that. And then remember, and Uranus is leaving Taurus in 2 months. Jupiter's moving into Cancer next month. There's change. You got Saturn moving into Aries, leaving Pisces in 2 weeks. There's a lot of change happening. You had Pluto leave Capricorn after, what is that? That was like 20 years. That was 13 years. It's been a while. So yeah, there's going to be everyone's going through some really big change. And again, Sedna is going to be a big thing. Sedna is going to be a big thing. You got Ceres moving into Aries as well. So you got Ceres with Eris, with Chiron, with Saturn, with Neptune in Aries. the beginning of the beginning, like the beginning, the first. I mean, y'all got some big changes happening in your lives. All right. And then remember, a lot of this is cardinal energy too. It's where it's like leadering up, right? But there is an aspect of, and well, listen, I'll talk about later, but a lot of things that are happening now is more like there's a lot of like focus on the collective. I think I've talked about this. It's going to be, let's be a collective. Let's think about humanity. Let's think about what we want to leave our kids, our grandkids, or just generations. Like, how do we want to leave the world, and we want to think about them right now, but we just want to think about the collective right now too. Okay. So that's going to be a thing, and it's going to be your role that you play. And it can be like, listen, it can just be, I don't know. I don't know, like The Walking Dead. You see The Walking Dead, like the very first 2 seasons, Daryl. It's like that. He's part of this collective. He's rebellious. Like, I don't like any of these people, but he still contributes. But he still knows we need to do this together. It's like that. Okay. Isn't that a weird? I don't know why that. All right. So, does anybody have any questions? Oh, and the other thing is, when I talk about the moon aspects, here's what I'm talking about. We got the moon conjuncting Mars today, which is great. But one thing that I try to tell this in every sign, but I was just running out of time. So I'm just going to tell you now. One of the reasons why I do the second spread with the lunations, I told you that the lunations have a really strong impact on you, right? Really big impact, more than you would know. The moon is like emotions and feelings, as we know. It has things to do with home and your loved ones, family. It's your subconscious. It's also like the people, right? The collective unconscious. So moon, you really want to track the moon. But I'm going to give you one example right now. You want to see, and again, I do, and sometimes if it's a big aspect, I'll put it in the Instagram story so you can pay attention and see how it's going to affect you and how to take advantage of it. But we just had the moon conjunct Jupiter, and you always know there's going to be something. Yeah. And that happened around April 29th. Okay. And so I want you to think about April 29th, April 30th ish. What happened for y'all? Because it was around that time that there were some good news came through. And I'll tell you now. It was also a day where I am very, very honored. I'm very honored and so grateful. I was asked to be on a YouTube channel, a podcast, as a guest. And so we did the interview back then, that just last week. And so I'm gonna be, and so that was really big, because I don't really, I've done one before, but this is a big platform. I don't know if I'm allowed to say which one. A lot of y'all may watch it already, so I'll be a guest on that platform. And I do predictions there as well. And we do talk about a lot of things. So look out for that. So that was just really, really, it was so nice. It was so nice to be a guest on the platform. And again, this podcast, and of course I will let you know when it comes out. I don't know when it's going to come out. One of the predictions I made already happened. Okay, literally today. So I don't know. And I told him, like, yeah, some of the predictions I told you, they're going to happen actually sooner than you would. But so keep that in mind. And that's just a good example. And then, with the moon conjunct, when we have the new moon last week. So of course the moon is going to be with Uranus. And so all this week I had, as an Aquarius, that affects my, 4th house of home, family, but some moon. So that's going to happen anyway. So I had unexpected, what's it called? when they drill and stuff. And anyway, repairs for like 4 days of inside my apartment, and that they had to do a lot of different things. So things like that. So that's why, like, pay attention to your moon. Pay attention to your moon. And that's why I do this, the second row with the lunations and the asteroids. It's like sometimes you feel the moon more than but equally so, and they also amplify the planetary aspects now. But yeah, so I'm going to give you some predictions, and I'm also going to tell you some things that have happened, because I feel like I've done so many, and I'm currently at like 100% accuracy. All of them have happened, and for now, but there's some things I have to tell you. But there are, remember, when I say end of the old, in with the new, this great new era that we're moving into, but a year of big change. And I've been telling you this for a while. You're seeing it play out. You're seeing it play out. Okay. Even like certain leaders that are gone, new ones coming through. This is a process, by the way. Yeah. So just keep that in mind. All right. Now, for the predictions, and I feel like I have to start listen, I'm a one-man team. Y'all know that. I don't, and hopefully that changes soon. But let me okay, so let me just timestamp. Let me just see what time it let me see what time it is. I gotta just do this now. Or how, I don't even know. Oh, okay, 31 minutes. Okay. Oh gosh. Okay, so let's get going. Um so the first thing is like how does anybody have any questions? Anyone have any questions so far? And feel free to ask me any questions about anything. One hit wonder, you said, Jimmy, you got to come out on Next Level Soul. I will look into that. One thing that I do say in the yes. And so one thing that I will have to say is that, remember, I'm so new to this. Like, I started doing predictions last summer, and I explain why in the podcast, which is, if you know that, you'll know the one that I'm going, but that I did, and again, it should come out in the next few weeks. And also, it was at night, and I was so tired. I remember I'm working like 60, 70 hours a week with a job, and again, there's adjustments happening that I got to make time for anyway. But I had like 2 iced teas right before. I was so caffeinated, and I was like, anyway. What I was gonna say is that I don't even remember. I don't even remember. um, uh, Carrie, surely if you're a guest, you can tell us which YouTube platform. I guess so. Can I do that? Yeah, I think so. Uh, let it. Okay, so inspired evolution. Okay, do y'all know that one with Amrit? Like, he's such a great guy. He actually had, well, okay, one hit wonder. You do free progress moon readings to contribute to my soul journey for the collective. Look at you go. And that's another, that's so funny. My progress moon is in Gemini, like right where, I mean, me being a Gemini rising, the fact that like Jupiter's in Gemini, I have Jupiter and Gemini in my chart, it's just been bonkers. Anyway, so let's start with the predictions. Okay, so what I was going to say about the predictions is that I do make some on his channel. All right, and like I said, you know, I fortunately am at 100% accuracy. All my predictions that I've said have come true, or there are still some that are still, I know, will happen. So, and that's for now. Things can change, but I do things differently, and that's because, and I should make this disclaimer every time I do predictions. I always forget, but remember, there are multiple timelines, and I just want to make that very clear. Time is very fluid. Very fluid. Things change. I've given you examples, okay, of even like who I saw, right, was gonna be the next, president. And then a month later, I saw a different person. I was like, oh, interesting, right? And so then I even did like a little tarot. Like I was like, is this? And I was like, oh, okay, yeah. So that's just an example of how timelines are fluid, okay? But I never actually gave you a prediction. I just knew. I have it in my books. Remember, everything I have in my notebooks, right? And I didn't tell y'all because it was just, I don't, I know how things are with that. Everything's like politically, but so I'm not even, I don't get involved with that. But the other thing is, and I think I explained this with the timelines, with the accuracy. It's because sometimes I can feel something has a higher percentage than other visions that I have. And so therefore I know that is definitely going to happen in our timeline. 1000% going to happen on our timeline, right? And then there's other things that I'm maybe like 50-50 on. I think I gave you an example of like Springfield, like all that stuff that was happening in Springfield. I didn't even know what state it was, but that actually happened. But I didn't say it in any of my prediction videos because I'm like, it's like a 50-50, but it's in my books. I have receipts. I have receipts for everything. You go through all my live streams where I make these announcements, and remember, I take photos of all the predictions I make in when I'm channeling and whatnot. Just so you can so all right, so I have receipts. The other thing is I do have to keep some things vague because it's just there's a whole other reason why. But one of the reasons I do this is because there are still some skeptics, and I want you to know that, and this is something, like I said, anyone can do this. We all have a pineal gland, and then we all have intuition. It's a matter of connecting with it. But I know that there is a difference with like some people being wired a certain way. And I explained in that podcast that, and I think I told y'all too, like I've just been, since I was a kid, when I would fall in these trances. And so I think some people are just wired a certain way. And I've never had, a big ayahuasca thing. I'm like, oh, I see things now. And like I've never had any of those. I've never, was like in a coma for 5 years, and I woke up and I saw things, so none of that. I've just had it my entire life, like a lot of other people. And I know that there are a lot of people like me that don't even use it, because remember, even me, I saw things. I never used it. I was a kid, and then through college, it was just more for fun. I would tell my friends like what I saw, and I would maybe like go on dates and do like fun psychic readings to be funny, and because they were all accurate. I just knew things, so I never used it for like the greater good. I never knew. I was young. I was silly. I was a DJ for 10 years. I don't know if y'all know that. That's why the music that I have with like my posts on Instagram are really good. But yeah, so anyway, I do have to keep some things vague sometimes. And the other reason why I do this is to help expand your consciousness. And that's why last year, 2024, is when I started seeing things that made me know I had to start telling y'all this. And it was things that it's like, these are things I can't even tell you in your weekly forecast for your zodiac sign. And it's to help prepare you for some of these big changes, which I said that you're going to see things that you've never seen in your entire life. And you started in the beginning of the year anyway, right? Okay. So, and that's the other thing. A lot of the things that I see just happen to align with astrology, showing that astrology is just very real. And I make predictions that you can't even do with astrology. You can really, you can go back in hindsight and say, oh, that's why, right? Like, I don't know, the confession from the guy from the TD Bank, the CEO, about all that fraud. But also I do, like, I didn't see their face. I knew it was a man. I saw that what they were wearing, and it's kind of like a mix of like remote. There's sometimes it is clear remote viewing. Sometimes it's like I will get the name of a city or and sometimes it's just a general area. I got to figure it out. I got to use imagination. And so it was a Toronto area. And I did say that prediction. It was like Toronto, right? That Toronto area. But then just weeks later, it was the Trudeau, when he made that big announcement of that he was like stepping down or so that could have been it. But that's the thing. Either way, there's two like big announcements coming out of that area within a month of anyway. So everything is everything's in the live streams, everything's in my books. And here's the other thing. The last thing I'm going to tell you is that there are many things that I do see that I know it's not time. Like there's about 50% of the things that I see, I know it's not time. I can't tell you now. Like it's like so, and it's not bad or anything. Like I already told you, like there are things but there's again, a lot of this is to start expanding your consciousness. Okay. And so because there is sometimes people will come to these predictions based out of fear. And I do not want to do that. That's not my goal. I'll never do that. And you know that. Because I always talk about energy and you know that. All right. Vibrate at a high frequency. That's I want to inspire you, I want to empower you. All right. And so so let's get into this. So just recently, the power outages, the blackouts in Spain, Portugal, France, like all of that, the Pope, the earthquake in San Diego. Yeah, like that's the thing, is like some of my predictions, like some happened literally the next day of my, even like I think Juneau, Alaska, when I made that prediction last year, and the big old mudslides that happened the next day. Anyway, so that's why it's like some things I know are gonna, but I don't think that Alaska is done. I've been talking about California for a long time. California, I feel like there's still more to come. Okay. And here's the other thing is that I did talk about is it June? I gotta look at the date of the video. It's either June or July of 2024, where I did tell you that buckle up, the economy is going to change, money is going to change, all the finances, that's going to change. Do you remember me saying that? Okay. I brought it up many other times. Okay. So that is just even before you knew who was going to be, sitting in that White House. It was even before, she even announced that she was running. We didn't even know who was running. But so I told you way back then, there's gonna I put that in your consciousness to let you know. So when it does happen, you're not like, okay, that is why I do this. So I think that I even told you one of the things I saw was like money burning, but I saw a lot of other things. I don't tell you everything, but you see what's happening, right? You see there is big change. There's this, it's global. And even if you think about here, Federal Reserve, bonds. But anyway, I won't even get into it. But I did say, and listen, I am not a financial advisor. You know that. I'm not any of that. Okay? I can't give you financial advice. All right? But I have said some things that I've been doing. All right? And so there you go. I told you about the weather, and I said last August, September, I said just expect some really big turbulent weather in October. And obviously that is hurricane season, but there's some big things happening. But I brought that into your consciousness because there's still something there that's even bigger than that, deeper than that. Okay. So that's why. Okay. And even little things that, the cable cords I told you, and I think that actually happened like 2 days after my prediction, like undersea, the cable cords, and there was okay, so you can even look that up. Um, that happened after happened twice. And then I, brought up the golf course, and that was just very casual. I remember even saying, okay, yeah, there's gonna be something at a golf course. Does anybody know? Like, and y'all know what happened, and even some boats. But I want you to know that history is changing. There's gonna be a lot of things coming up, and you're gonna see that. So I want that to be in your consciousness right now, that a lot of things that you know now, there's gotta be changes, okay? And I don't want you to fight it. And I don't want you to, because it's hard when you've been trained, when you've been taught or lived a certain way for a long time. It's hard to accept other realities and truths. And so that's another thing. Okay. So just keep that in mind, that there's got to be some things that you're going to see. And especially around this full moon, when truths come to light, but also like within you, within your circumstances, but all year, all year, there's got to be some things that you're going to see where it's like, okay. And so anyway, just keep that in mind. All right. There's got to be some things that are going to change. And then I did mention floods. Okay. I mentioned floods many, many, many times. Okay. Last year, and then again this year. And so just, um, that's also a thing. And again, you can go through the live streams, but I'll timestamp. Anyway, I'm just letting you know that there's receipts. All right. And there's another reason why I'm telling you this, and I'm going to tell you later. But okay, so future. Okay, so we're going to talk about some predictions, and then the one thing that I don't want to do is I don't want to repeat things that I did say in this live stream. But I guess the one thing, because when was our last live stream? It's been a while. And the last, so I have predictions here since April 19th. And I think that may have been, is that the last? I think we did it before then. You see it starts right here. Let me just see. It goes, so April 19th, right? So there's, the last time I think I told you about, well, I said this last year, and then I'm still getting it. But okay, well, the first thing is the missiles. That's something that I talked about with on the thing, on the okay, the podcast. And yeah, so I don't know if you heard the news today, but that's not even near done. And then I talked about another, and remember my prediction with the world leaders that I made, remember, it was plural. There's going to be another one who will go through a health situation soon, this month. Okay. And I did go back on that just to look, I revisited it. And, what I did say in, the interview, I talked about it. I saw a lot of like medical devices and whatnot. And so one thing about my predictions is there's a lot of things I do say or that I have in my book that maybe I don't even tell y'all, but I see a lot of things behind the scenes, things that are not public facing. And some of the things are just it's just like, even if I were to tell you, you would think that I'm crazy. It's like, so that's another thing. I'm like, I gotta wait until they're at a point where there's, where it doesn't like, but yeah, there's gonna be, just some health concerns with a world leader. And I don't know if there's, but I just keep that in mind. Okay. That, yeah. And then, New Zealand came up again. Remember, we're not done with that. And then I did mention the earthquakes. I did mention the tsunami. I talk a little bit more about it in the live stream that I did over there. And I did say that there is definitely one. Yeah. Again, I've been talking about this since last year, but well, the big one. And so there is going to be a big one. It is going to be yeah, it's going to be and so just in the Asia area. And then like when I say California is not, it's like I'm talking about the coastline, but I'm talking about the coastline all the way up to Alaska, because Alaska continues to come up for me. Okay. But I'm not saying it's like, I'm just saying like, just there may be something. Remember that is the timeline, but timelines change. Okay. Same thing with the power grids, the blackouts. Yeah. There's going to be more. There's going to be more. So I remember someone asking the last time. Remember, I talked about this in my last live stream, my predictions video. So someone did ask me something about that. Like, if this happens, what should we, right? That was a thing. And it's just prepare. Just think about like if there was a blackout in your city, like what should you, just have for about 3 days. Yep. Just, you just never know. And then I think that's, let me see. I think those are just kind of like the main ones. I did see, and because there's also stuff in here, I'm like, what does that even mean? I did see, yeah, a lot of like, a lot of, things in the sky again. And then something with a zoo. That there was zoo stuff, animals, zoo, that, came up. Coastline, and then like the, oh, this is another thing that I still haven't connected the dots. So remember how I mentioned like Michigan and Missouri and Alaska a couple times? So I don't know why they kept coming up again. And so I had to do, and it's like at this point, and if I don't know if you remember, I talked about like Israel last year and came up again, but I also talked about like the wall of Israel. I don't know what that, but anyway, I talked about like DNA. You see, like everything's here. But so Michigan and Missouri, Missouri, sorry, and Alaska. And so I had to just like AI that. I was like, what is going on? What do they have in common? And there was the only thing that really came up was like underground, like bases or something. So again, I think I told you in the last live stream, right? I told you what happened with, 3 world leaders talking about, technology that we have that nobody knows about. I talked about that, right? And you can Google it. Like 3 all within days of each other. Talking about technologies that can manipulate time and space. Someone saying that we have technology that you've never seen, right? Weaponry nobody has any idea about. And then one that was just, it said that we have technology that basically is free energy that, you can power it off one island. So they all admitted that we have this, that nobody, I like, why is nobody writing about this? And that's the other thing about like media. Like it's not like, of course. Anyway, and so maybe, I don't know, maybe that's the thing there. I don't know. That's why, it's always great when y'all throw in your suggestions and whatnot. But yeah, Asia, there's some stuff there. I saw a prime minister or a president or something come out and do a big, press conference talk. There's going to be like a big event. Just think coastlines. Um, and then, yeah, I don't know, this word, I mean, Oakland came up, but I don't know. I got, okay, so Roseland Park, Oakland, Oakland Tree. I don't know. It just, those are, I couldn't get what was going on there. And then, yeah, there's some underground stuff that's actually really good for us. That's really nice. Okay. I'm just letting you know. I've talked about crystals, right? So that's really wonderful. And then yeah, I just, sometimes I do see uh oh, I think I talk about there's going to be an incident at I couldn't see if it was like a school or I saw the sign. I can't really read the sign. It was like, but there's it was like red and like gold letter. Anyway, but there's got to be something there. Yeah, DNA stuff. There's still some stuff happening there. Okay. And there's a lot of, like those papers for like city planning, right? There's a lot of those, by the way, like, again, like just out of sheer coincidence, like underground, there's that, and DNA, chromosomes. So one thing that I mentioned, and so I talk about that in the other podcast, but yeah, there's stuff that's happening, and then there's new information you'll be, receiving. um and then there's let's say that's it. Let's say that's it. um Something crashing. But there was one that I was just like, I don't know what this is, but maybe y'all can help. But there was one where it was someone, and oh, and the other thing, yeah, I talked about vaccines. I said there's something happening with vaccines and food processing. Do y'all remember when I said that? Oh yeah, Carrie, you hear the church bells? So, do y'all remember? So, I have talked about vaccines. There's something here with vaccines. And I can go deeper. And that's the other thing. When I do these, yeah, I do get like clearer audio. I can channel, but there's like levels of it where there's like it's almost like Edgar Casey. It's like that. I have to like I go in like a trance basically, like when I do these. And that's when, okay, so vaccines, so there's got to be something there, and that's more like something's playing out for sure. And then I also talked about food processing. I said I saw stuff, and we know that things are changing. I think they banned the dyes, right? Certain dyes in the US. But anyway, there you go. Those are some stuff for you again to have in your, consciousness, and that's like a thing. Those are a couple. Um, but yeah, so I think that just healthcare of someone, and then and uh the like flooding and earthquake and stuff, and it's there's a lot happening, but there's one that I particularly see, and so I already just told you. And then I don't know. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I missed, but oh gosh, I told you. And this is the thing. I don't even go back to, sometimes I'll go back to like the things that I said. Um but not all the time. And I had to, because I had to do a little bit of research for, this interview. I'm like, okay, I gotta, I have receipts. Every prediction I made, I have receipts. I just have to find them. And there was another one where I did tell you, there's gonna be a big famous like celebrity that it's a celebration of their life. And that's what I, call it. And it was and I never told you. I guess I just never told you after, because sometimes I don't go back and say, oh, this was right, this is right. But it was the guy, the one guy from One Direction. So that was in October. That was just something that I saw. Oh yeah, that happened. But it was really sad. It was, but anyway, okay. So any questions so far? Current energies, as you know, fiery, 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 fiery. Some wonderful things happening with Mercury, sextile Jupiter. Venus is sextile Pluto as well. Look at the lunations, look at the asteroids, look at what they're doing for you in your chart. And then also, what's happening right now is that, we're going to have a lot of big changes. May is an amazing month. Everyone's going to have you're already going through big changes. And then it is just this 1 week with a full moon in Scorpio where, it can be challenging if you're resistant to do shadow work. That's all it is. And then Uranus Kazemi, Uranus is unexpected, but Uranus is the great awakener. Uranus is all about progress and innovation and change. And for you to have those breakthroughs while Pluto is retrograde in Aquarius, Uranus is a ruler for Aquarius. So it's a time for you. You got this big old window to have this huge breakthrough for things that you just don't want to bring with you anymore as part of your evolution. That's what's happening. That's what's happening. And so I want you to know that that's what the week of the full moon is going to be. Let things illuminate. Let the thing, like I talked about the shadow work, the shadow side. Like, let's work on that, because that's the only thing that Mercury will square Pluto that day. That's not easy. I give you a lot about what this. Your readings are long again. They're about an hour long, but because it is a big one. And I want you to be able to do that shadow work. And I tell you how, and I give you a lot of great reasons why there's so much planets and aspects actually supporting you. And again, your personal horoscope is very different from, mundane astrology, and you're seeing things change. You're seeing a lot of things change. Again, I just told you some big leaders that are, no longer, and a lot of this even started happening back even like over the winter time. But now that there's a lot of things happening, even just the fact that Pluto power is going retro, that does have an impact. And there's got to be a lot of big changes that you're going to see. And there's a reason why now that there are certain, world leaders are there. And just remember, I've always told you there's going to have to be some breakdowns for us to have that breakthrough as a collective. So you just got to trust that things, we got some great things waiting for us. And there's got to be some new people. You're going to start seeing new people come into power. Good people. Some people could argue that and you listen, look at that. Some of the people in power are the wrong people. And I'm not pointing fingers at anyone. I'm just saying, now that Saturn is about to move into Aries, Neptune is already there. They're going to be together first time in over 3 centuries. You're going to see new leaders. You're going to see new leaders. You're going to see even younger generation, with your Uranus going into Gemini, Pluto in Aquarius. Remember those visionary leaders. But again, yeah, there still can be delusional leaders. And that's the other thing. I want you to trust your intuition. When I say that, I'm not just talking political. I'm talking about everything. I'm talking about everything. There are some people that should not be. Everyone's on a karmic journey, but you trust your intuition. That's all I have to say. Okay. You're on a karmic journey. You trust your intuition. You're going to be fine. You're going to be fine. All right. Y'all going to be fine. There's a lot more that we can talk about. But just know, oh gosh, what time I can't, I got to do another live show. I'll do one later. Oh, actually, because I wanted to tell you about the cycles that we're in right now. Because yeah, there's a reason why I call this year, the year of the Great Awakening and the Age of Ascension. We're on the brink of the Age of Aquarius, and it's the great year. And I counted at least 11 cycles that we're in the end of and the beginning of. And I don't think there's anybody out there. People will talk about, some planetary aspects. I'm bringing in other stuff in our physical world, geophysically, even like ancient civilizations, and I'm bringing in geophysics, pole shifts. So there's 11 that I've counted so far, and I talk about most of them in the live stream or in the interview that I did that I was a guest on this channel. So we'll wait for that. Actually, why don't we do that? Because again, that'll come out, I think in the next few weeks. And if you have any questions from that, we can talk about that. But I'm just looking at the time. I'm like, oh, y'all got to go to brunch. And I got to eat too. Do y'all have any questions? Let me know if you have any questions. Let me answer your questions. Let me talk to me. What y'all got? Tell me what's going on. I want to know. Oh, DJ BTV, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you for the super. M. Lopez, thank you so much. You're amazing. Y'all, thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. It really does. Help. It does. Here's a gift to buy your next journal. Keep projecting, and keep shining light. Okay. I really do appreciate it because I don't know if you noticed, I'm already done with this. I just bought this. I've only got like that much left, like these many pages. So thank you so much. I really, really do appreciate all of y'all. You know that. I hope that you do see it in my readings too, and in these live streams. And again, I there's a lot more that I feel like we need to talk about. But there's also just remember, there's gotta be the best way to see right now is like you are going through this enormous change in this enormously auspicious way. Remember, May is very auspicious. June, oh my goodness, just wait till we get to June. August, obviously there's still going to be some other aspects that are but still you're on this trajectory. And I want you to see this full moon, and with Uranus, because that's happening mid-month. I'll do your forecast this week as what has got to go in me or within my world for me to let in the new. The more I let go, the more I'm going to receive. Okay. And again, it just may be one of those things where you have to spend some time thinking about what no longer serves you well. That's where you're at right now. But remember, you got Jupiter helping you. You got the North nodes helping. You got everything. I'll tell you. I'll tell you. I'll tell you. Jekka, new member. It's so great to have you. Diana, new member. Great to have y'all. Y'all, thanks so much for joining, becoming members. All right. Questions about anything that's going on. I don't think I'm just like, if you already wrote a question, write it again so I don't have to scroll through because it's my computer's weird. Marshall, great to see you. Instagram, it's just the tarot ship. It's the same on every, like, all of them, all of the social media platforms. Oh my gosh, I have big news too. So finally, because I get a lot of comments from y'all, I get an email like, finally I'm done with the so I have that merch store. I've updated my friend that I work with. She worked, and I don't know if I'm allowed to say where she worked. I don't know. I gotta ask her, but I've known her for a long time. She wanted to do the designs, and she works at a really high end, fashion brand. She wanted to do this, so she redid all the designs. So there's new designs for the t-shirts and mugs for your sign, hats, whatever, the tote bags for every, like, you're good, all of that for your sign, for all 12 signs. So check that out. That's my thing. And that's like, listen, I've been meaning to, and it's been about a year. I haven't touched that. And it's been like, again, I work so much. I just wish I had a lot more time. So I'm very grateful to have, friends come through and, it's, remember, you put that energy out there, and I'm taking care of her. And so I'm very excited. I'm very happy. And again, really excited about this interview that you're going to see. And I might be a little, and you see, I'm like charged up. And it's like, I told, like, I don't need, y'all know your birth. Listen, when you look at your natal charts, and I may have said this, like, I've got Mars opposite Pluto, like, just leaving in my chart, but I have my Mars on top of my Mars. I had Mars on top of my Mars. I had Mars retrograde. I had Mars in Cancer. Since I've been going with that since September. I'm right on my Jupiter Saturn square. If you're Gemini rising, yeah, you're gonna have Saturn squaring your Jupiter. I mean, really depends on the degree and everything, but mine's at a late degree, and Saturn is what, 28 degrees right now, 27, 28. So there's what's happening for every sign, but then you go down to your birth chart, you get it a little bit more, like, it's a little bit more of a microscope in terms of what's happening. So it's just been, and I'm coming out of that energy. I've got to do your forecast, and I'm gonna have to do them in a way, because I'm taking all of the last week of May off. I need it. I have not had a break. Even when I went up to the, upstate I was just like, I had to work, I had to do this, I had to come back home for this. So I'm seeing my family, which is great. And then also I'm going to a wedding, and that for a friend. And I got to figure out, like, okay, there's going to be a week where I'm going to have to do 24 forecasts. I got to figure that out. I don't even have the because I already do 12 a week for every sign, but now I got to do, and also your bonus spreads. And so now I'm just like, okay, how am I going to do this? I actually just might have to take a week off. I don't know. We'll see. Because I think I can start now and just kind of pace them out throughout the month. because again, the last 2 weeks of May, they're big. I can't just not, right? And then June, the luckiest month of the year. I can't just, so anyway, y'all. All right. So were there any questions? M. Lopez, word of the 11. I will, I'll do it in this. I'll do it in a second. I'll do another live stream, and that'll be just on the cycles, because it's hard to, I gotta walk you through it. Mitchell 11 is a master ascended number. Okay, I'm just gonna give you a really quick preview here, or Michelle. That full moon in Scorpio, it is a 22-degree full moon in Scorpio. And so that's a master number 2. And one thing that I didn't tell you, and that's what I'm saying, there's so many things about that full moon. I'm like, okay, they got to know this, or they got to know this, and they got to know this. One thing I didn't tell you, I'll tell you now. That full moon in Scorpio, it's in the 3rd decan. So we got Venus involved too. There's just so much happening. But I only told a couple signs. Lori, you said so true. I hope the honest politicians step forward and do what's right for people and not put taxpayer money into corruption in their own pockets. Taxpayer, hold your politicians accountable. That's true. Yeah, that's true. And I will agree with you there that there is and it's not just it's not just politics, and and that's the great thing about this year. You're seeing that. Everyone's seeing that now. You're seeing things being revealed, and again, not just there's things coming into your consciousness where it's not just politics, but it's corporations, it's healthcare, it's what I mean. And Pluto in Aquarius, I've told you, is power to the people. Power to the people. You got Neptune, Saturn together in Aries. We got a big shift happening for the people. But remember, again, that's a process. Pluto just moved into Aquarius. It hasn't even been 6 months. So again, it's a process. But yeah, there's gonna be a lot, and it's a lot more than that too. I'll do it in another live stream. Just some of the things I've seen. It's a lot more, but yeah, it's always been we the people, not we the government. So somewhere along the line, the script got flipped, and so it really isn't. But anyway, that's just something else. I've talked about that too. So yeah, you're absolutely right. And there's again. Remember, everyone's going to go through that spiritual warrior. Use your spiritual warrior energy. The last thing I'm going to say is remember, I said that it can be like illusion, delusion. With Saturn and Neptune and Aries, you're going to see a lot more delusional leaders. That is a lower expression of what's happening. And Neptune already moved into Aries. That's where it really counts. And so of course. Remember, I said that a great example of Neptune and Aries is Gandhi, right? For the people, for the greater good, power to the people. But then you also had Julius Caesar, who also had Neptune and Aries. And so there's everything. I talked about polarities. There's extremes, and there's right. But that's why everyone's got to vibrate at this high frequency, because everything is energy. I've talked about energy, and it is not just manifestation and spirituality. It is literal science. Everything's made, and so we can change timelines, we can change circumstances. We have that power. You've seen it happen. You've seen what a march can do with millions of people and bring things into the consciousness of people. We've seen. So again, it's a process. You're going to start seeing things. But use it. Vibrate at the high frequency. So keep that in mind, and be very mindful of who you listen to, as well as leaders. And I'm just saying that because while I was doing research, I think I told you this, I've been trying to get more, I wanted to also because remember, I've had guests on my platform, and I'm always looking to have guests. So I'm always, there's certain people that I was, look at, but also at the same time, because I'm so new to doing what I'm doing with the predictions, I just started last year publicly, right? And so always looking for channelers and psychics. I know that I don't, that word has a connotation to it, but still, it's just incredible at how even just me energetically feeling, you know what, just if you watch anyone else, just make sure, and I'm not saying like they're wrong. I'm just saying trust your intuition on the messages that they're giving. But if y'all already do, so it's not like, but I am gonna make this video public, so it's like anyone watching this, just trust your intuition, okay? Especially with the people that, like, no one should, for instance, recycle a lot of the same message, right, in different ways for a year or more and ask you for money for an event they're doing, or do you, like, that's what I'm saying, okay? Don't let anyone take advantage. And that's where I'm just like, okay, that's not right. That's not right. So that's all I'm saying, is just trust your intuition and just be mindful, okay? And if someone doesn't have receipts, that may be a good, like, you can go to every single one of my live streams. I don't promote anything. I don't sell you anything. I don't do, and that's another thing. There's a lot of bots out there, so I'm not going to ask you for a private. I'm never going to ask you for private rate. Like, so just remember that. All right. So, other than the merch store, obviously, but I'm just excited about that, and that's based on your comments. Remember, I did that for, like, because I was getting a lot of like, will you do the? So I finally got around to it after a year. Anyway, ND4, when does Jupiter move into Cancer? Everybody, listen. Great question. This is the last full month we will have Jupiter in Gemini. Take advantage right now. Everything that I say in your readings, anything that I mentioned about Jupiter, Gemini, or anything like that, aspects, use it. Use it. We're about to move into Gemini season 2 in 2 weeks, but Jupiter will move into Cancer. I think it's June 9th. It's 6th, or then it's early in June. It's early in June, okay? And Jupiter is exalted in Cancer, and Cancer is a cardinal sign. And so remember all that cardinal energy that you may be feeling, and but yeah. Okay. So, all right. Any other questions? One hit wonder, you asked, what does Pluto retrograde in the 9th house say? I talk about in your forecasts anything with where that is in your 9th house. Pluto and Aquarius. And yeah, it's all about transformation. But I talk about your May forecast. Okay. So yeah, so I see a lot of y'all throwing numbers too. Yes, I'm bringing a lot of numbers in your forecast. Carrie, you said, and this is for everybody. I'm seeing Carrie's question. This is for everybody. Anyone watching this. It didn't even, so Carrie, you say Virgo, Moon, and Cancer, rising in Aries. You're being dumped on by people from all angles. Listen, okay, everything that I just said, like, you're in this place where your north node is with Saturn right now. And so remember, just listen to your reading that I tell you, because every question that you're asking, I answer. I answer, but this is for everybody. You're just feeling it strongly because you have Moon in Cancer, and the Moon is in Cancer today. And that's why I say, watch the lunations that I do for you, the second spread. The Moon is so important. And so when you have the Moon in Cancer, that's a little bit more sensitivity, right? Especially emotionally. But this is for anybody, okay? But it is you moving up to this full moon in Scorpio, where you're now, it's happening what, in 8 days from now? You are now in the process, you and everybody in the world, in the process of seeing what doesn't work for me as I evolve. What do I have to leave behind? Whether it's something in my physical world, or something up here. Remember, Pluto is very psychological, right? So, and it goes deep. It goes deep. So down to your soul, like that's that. So that's don't hide from the world. Don't hide from the world. But that's a good question because that is everyone's going to be feeling that soon. You're going to feel that, especially Jupiter sextiling the Chiron, Jupiter squaring the North Node and the South Node, and all the lunations and the asteroids that I tell you about in your monthly, okay, or in your next week's readings. Spontaneous Alchemy with Dakota Rogers, the best name ever. I love that. Where will we be able to see this interview? I'll post it. I'll post it on my channel. Okay. It's I'll post it on my channel. It should be in the next few weeks. It should be in the next few weeks, but I'm excited for it. And again, I'm just letting y'all know I was really amped up, and it's just really fiery energy. But when you got Mars on top of your Mars, like it's like okay. Lori, I love your comment. I love your insight, Jimmy. I'm a true warrior for truth and justice. Yes, I worked for one of the largest law firms, so I know how injustice and lies have played out. Yes, I love that. And that's the thing. Truth's coming to the surface. That you're going to see that play out. And you're already seeing it play out on the world stage. Your job is to accept it. Again, there are some things that you may have believed for 20, 30, 40 years. Now you're starting to see it didn't fit the narrative of what you believed or what you were told for that long. So it's hard to accept those things. Trust your intuition. Go deep. Never fight your intuition. But that's very, very, yeah. And I do talk about Juno, who's going to be a big player for the full moon. Really big in terms of truth and justice for every sign. For every sign. So, okay. Anyone else with any other questions? I love your comments. Y'all are amazing. So, okay. Chic Fit Glow MD. I love that. You said you're so new to all of this, and I think I don't know if you saw the beginning. But you said you deserve to make a living for this toy or anything else, and the collective. So keep going. Thank you. I really appreciate it. And that's why I'm here for you. I'm always here for you. I hope you know that. I'm not just sitting here just, I hope you see the passion in me. Okay? When I do your spreads and even in these live streams, I'm not just throwing down, like I'm really, okay. Anyway, yeah, you said, what does the North Node and Saturday does to Capricorns? Yeah. It's all, just wait for your forecast. I talk about what's going to happen. Just remember, it's all about this new you that you're moving into. Brand new era, okay? But you've got to let some things go with this full moon. Again, your physical world, something within you, maybe a pattern or a habit or a way that you were thinking, something deep in the subconscious. That's what I'm talking about, doing that shadow work. But it's a Pluto ruled Scorpio full moon that rules death and rebirth. And in order to have that rebirth and all these new things coming in, you need that death part. So there's something that's got to end, like a way that you're thinking, again, a pattern, something within you. But that's why you go do that shadow work. And it is going to be that thing that you don't want to confront. That's why it may be a little challenging for some people. It may be, you're going to have to, the full moon's going to make you. That's all I'm going to say. It's going to make you. So you can do baby steps. That's fine. That's fine. And you can get a little bit of it. That's fine. But just know that there may be some things that you see that, like, okay, some things are going to change. Yeah. Okay, y'all. I gotta go. Y'all are amazing. Y'all are amazing. Okay. Oh, Snuffle. I see your comment. Listen, there's a lot. There's a lot. And that's what I'm saying, is that there's certain narratives that, oh, I don't know how to say this without being like, I mean, there's God, there's God. You remember I just talked about those three leaders talking about weapons of energy and energy solutions and free energy all at the same time. That like that's a kismet moment. That's something that is out there in the universe. And it's not they all, it's all on YouTube. They've all said it, and it's not anything that they've denied or anything. So it's but you're gonna start seeing a lot more come out, being illuminated, even things that, again, you didn't. I think I said, even I think I said in my last live stream, did I? Like, even like, I mean, like when you do the, like, even like the internet, right? The military had the internet for 20 years before we got it. So you see how there's things, and that's why I think some of the things I see are, when I think that's a connection with some of the states that I see. There may be something there or some other things, but then there's other stuff that I see that I'm just like, oh, okay, that makes sense. Here's the other thing, is that you're gonna start seeing some things, because what you just said, remember, someone was, unfortunately, in terms of something that had to do with that, had, an, yeah, we know, are we on the same, like, come on, that's not right. And you can make the same argument for a lot of things that have happened with some people, and I'll talk about it next live stream, because there's this, I don't want to keep y'all any longer. I gotta go. I'm so hungry, and I gotta yeah, I have to start working on your next readings. Anyway, y'all are amazing. Thank you so much. I hope I was able to answer a lot of your questions. I hope that you got a lot out of this. And yeah, just know that there's still some things to come. And just remember, everything, there's a reason why. There's a reason why. Okay. There's bigger things at play. I'm just giving you like little, like, there's bigger things at play. And I've seen them, and I know them, and it is amazing what's happening. But again, there's gonna be a couple things that may be a little bit challenging before we get there. Always vibrate at that high frequency. You'll know the difference. You know the difference when you're on that vibration of love and compassion and kindness and gratitude. You see things differently. You feel things differently. So that's why I always say, but and then you're protected. And then you're protected. Yeah. There, when you're there, when you trust your intuition, you're there. There is no doubt. There is no fear. There's no, and I always say fear doesn't even exist, right? It's something that we create in our heads. It doesn't even exist. So always vibrate at that high frequency. Y'all are amazing. I love y'all. Thank you so much for thank you so much. And yeah, I gotta figure this out. I gotta do, let's talk next. We'll do another one soon. I gotta figure out, because I gotta do a Saturn Neptune one for y'all too, but I can talk about, but that is also in line with a lot of the things that we talked about that we could still continue talking about. So everyone, have a wonderful weekend. Thanks so much. Y'all are amazing. How do I forget how to, okay, end stream. Y'all have an amazing, and remember, Mercury sextile Jupiter is so amazing. Please use it. Please use it. And that's another thing. I am citing something. So again, there's just like, I'm just telling you this because like there's just, I wish I could tell you like a lot of things that track. And I think I did, with the moon in Gemini, moon in Taurus, conjuncting Uranus, things like that. Even like this Mercury Jupiter sextile, there may be some news that you hear, that you receive, something that you sign, maybe something that you launch or think about launching. So much possibility. Sextiles are windows of opportunity. Y'all are amazing. Y'all take care. I love you all. Thanks so much. I will see you. I'll see you very soon. And your videos will be out on Wednesday on the full moon, and they are long. So get comfy, Get comfy. They're about an hour. Get comfy. It's the Uranus Kazemi too. That happens once a year. Get comfy. Bring, popcorn, whatever you want. Okay. Put on your cool suspenders. You're gonna be fine. Okay. I'll see y'all next time. Take a hot bath. I'll see y'all soon. All right. Thanks so much, y'all. Have a wonderful weekend. Y'all are amazing. All right. Play music. Inspired music. Great. I'll see y'all soon. All right. Thank you. Bye-bye. Okay. Bye.